Welcome. This is all minus one quick shots. Folks, there has been a lot of talk about the border crisis, the migrant crisis, if you would. Of course, this was under control and it was handled very, very well under the Trump administration. Now, some people would argue otherwise, but the Trump policies actually corrected the imbalances and what was going on that was wrong with the previous administrations. That is going all the way back to Bill Clinton. But the idea of kids in cages, of course, we know is an Obama era plan. We know that he did that, and we know Joe Biden is doing that now. And now with COVID, people are coming in unchecked. And in many cases, we have seen they've been released already out into the rest of the public, even though they have the most deadly virus ever that we must shut down all of society for and have a great reset and whatever else, right? Makes no sense. So what is all of this really about? Well, I did some videos on Friday talking about it, but in the end, philosophically, what this is about is your sovereignty. And the leftists do not believe in sovereignty, folks. They don't believe that you get to do as you please. They don't believe that you get to have your say amongst the masses. The masses get to rule your life. This is much like the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Abraham's cousin Lot was in the city, and he was trying to get him out because God told Abraham he would destroy it. Two angels came to Lot, and the townspeople formed a mob around his house and asked them to be accosted sexually. They were asked to be brought outside so the men may be known. And Lot even offered his virgin daughters to the crowd, or assuming they were virgins, the young ladies that were still under his care, to the crowd to be raped because, well, he didn't want to offend his guests. And see, this is how the mob works. There is no sovereignty within the mob. And you have to understand that everything that is leftist is the mob, because it is people who have never developed their inner selves, their inner identities, their true sovereign beings. They don't understand their sexuality. They don't understand their darkness and their evil. They don't understand their ability to hurt others or how they hurt others. They just project that on to other folks and blame everyone else. They don't take personal responsibility. There is no leadership. There is only your emotions, their hedonism. There is only how they feel in the moment, and that is what is right, true, and correct based on postmodernist ideologies because, well, it's all about power. And power means that there is no sovereignty. See, an individual cannot be a tyrant over the masses. You cannot be an individualist and, tyrannize other people if you're focused on yourself and taking care of your own business, correct? But the mob is inherently always tyrannical, is it not? The mob always goes after those who are individualist and weaker than the mass. And again, this goes back to your own sovereignty to dictate what your destiny is, how you are going to pursue your own life. We see this with the LBG community, or the T specifically. This whole notion of being super straight as a countermeasure to the idea that you are a transphobe if you do not want to have sex with people who have had gender reassignment surgery or just claim to be another gender, which is absolutely absurd because they have not changed their chromosomal makeup, so they are not what they claim to be. Although I know that that's hateful, supposedly. Like, I don't care what these folks do. I believe that they have a right to go do whatever they want to their body, just like if you wanted to get a tattoo or a nose ring, or, if you want to chop off your sex organs, your primary or secondary organs, that's fine by me. I think that you have a screw loose, just like someone who wants to cut off their arm for no reason other than it doesn't feel right to them. That appendage doesn't belong. There is some deeper issues there. But the reality is that those folks don't want you to have sovereignty. They want your body to be part of their property. And this goes back to ideas that are way old, like Plato, talking about having sex be free amongst the people. We can go back to Yevgeny Zamatian's book, We, which I highly suggest all of you read. We is a book about Taylorism and communist takeover. It's a futuristic dystopia. It was written before 1984. There is some evidence that both George Orwell and Aldous Huxley took cues from it. And in the book We, there is no family, there is no marriage, there is only sex, and that is decided by a pink slip. So if you think someone is attractive or you want to have sex with them, you just get a slip and you go have sex with them. And it works very much the same way in Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World, which Huxley probably took that idea directly from We, as well as Plato's Republic. And the idea that someone would be monogamous is some sort of blasphemy. Monogamy is a heresy to these folks, not blasphemy. I meant to say heresy. Blasphemy, by the way, folks, is a very specific term that has to do with claiming that you have the rights and abilities of God. So we also see this, though, with the whole immigration crisis. That is our issue of sovereignty. That's what I started off on, right? And that as a nation, we don't get to determine who gets to come in, right? Because what we're doing is we're giving up our sovereignty to the globalists, to the global world. The same with the carbon emissions. It's all about sovereignty. It's all about, do we get to dictate our own lives? And according to the globalist, according to the woke scold, no, we do not. It is the global community that decides how you must live and act. These people are quite fractured. These are folks that are inherently evil. When you want to control someone's life, when you want to make someone do something, you are a tyrant and you are inherently an immoral actor. Now, we could want people to do good things, but again, even if I made you by force do good things, I would still be an immoral actor. And there is a reason for that, simply because I violated your own personal sovereignty. There is, of course, greater cases that we can talk about and where we make concessions here with the state and the hierarchy of things. One of the things I think that you should note, though, is in the American system, under the federal Constitution, the states and the people have sovereignty. The people under the 9th Amendment and the states under the 10th Amendment. Yet the federal government assumes sovereignty all of the time. And we just continue to allow them to do so. We continue to allow them to dictate every little thing that we do in our lives. And we allow them to create crisis like we have currently on the border because of it. We also see that the sovereignty to keep our nation closed was basically used as a political tool back under the Trump administration during the initial outbreak of COVID. And the reason for that, the reason why it was challenged, at least, was all political, woke scold, woke speak. It doesn't matter to them what you actually do, if you're practicing sovereignty or not, because to them, they actually get the moral high ground and have the sovereignty to do whatever they want to you because they believe correctly. And in the end, folks, this is actually a form of Gnosticism. This is what the leftists are. They know better, but so because they have it in their mind, they are spiritually enlightened. And because they are spiritually enlightened, they get to tell you how the world should be because they don't have to actually live anything out. And this is all true, and this is actually all what Gnostics teach, folks. This goes back to all occultism and mystery schools. This is goes back to the Kabbalah, if you would. This is occultism. And this is how the ideas of Satanism, the ideas of people like H.P. Blavatsky, Aleister Crowley. This is the crux of the issue. And again, you don't have any sovereignty, but they do over you. They get to dictate your life because they have the proper Gnostic belief. That is, they know. And because they know, because they are enlightened by knowing, they don't actually have to be good because they're an ally on the right team. And the right team means perfect morality. Doesn't matter how they act as long as they're on the right team. Because their Lord and Savior, folks, is Satan. It is Lucifer. It truly is. Now, I don't mean Lucifer in the actual sense. I mean, in the colloquial sense, because Lucifer is actually a transliteration, but the light bearer or the light bringer. Now, that was actually originally most likely applied to the king of Babylon or Tyre, if I can't remember correctly. But regardless, it has been interpreted other ways. But the point being, in the context of most minds, that is the fallen one, the master of this universe. And that's really what they worship. They worship the knowledge. They worship the person in the garden that brought the knowledge. And it's the knowledge, not the freedom, not the right to choose, not the God that loves you and decides that he will give you everlasting life if you choose to follow him and have a relationship with him. No. It is the one who basically brought death and destruction onto this world that they follow. And there is no sovereignty amongst them either, because they, my friends, are possessed by the mind virus. They are possessed by evil spirits. They think evil things. Everyone that comes out of this, everyone that comes away from this, knows better afterwards. I've been reading Father Sephram Rose, or Eugene Rose, on my segments, on my storytime segments, and you can see this because he came out of it. I was watching on Robin Riley's stream this weekend, Brother Augustine, who I had not heard of, but he wrote at least 2 books that I'm aware of now. And this man is a guy that wasn't a cultist. He wasn't a Freemasonry. He understood all these things at a high level and understood the deep down secrets of it, and then went into orthodoxy. And what did he discover? He discovered the same thing that I'm saying now. I will be trying to get him on our live show, Lord willing, if he will come on. In any case, guys, all of this is about your individual sovereignty. It's about the local sovereignty. If you look into the issues over the immigration thing, they are being overwhelmed. It's the counties, the cities, and the states. And the federal government wants to dissolve your sovereignty because we are in a globalist nation. And as long as they can destroy your sovereignty, they can demoralize you. And that's exactly the point. Destroy all boundaries, destroy all borders, create absolute chaos so they can come in with their power and build from the ashes. Guys, that is all I have to say. This has been All Minus One Quick Shots, and I wish you all well.